I am Abraham. And if there's one thing I've learned throughout my journey, it's this. When God speaks, we must listen, even if our soul trembles. I was already old, and Isaac, the son of the promise, was my everything. My laughter, my air, the one God gave me against all hope. But then came the voice. It was early morning when I was awakened by a silent yet powerful presence. "Abraham," he said. "Here I am," I answered. Then came the command that tore my heart like no other. "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you." I didn't sleep again that night. My heart battled between obedience and a father's love. How could I? Why would God ask for something so painful? But I knew that voice. It was the same that led me from Ur of the Chaldeans, the same that promised a son when it seemed impossible. So I rose. I saddled the donkey. I cut the wood. I woke Isaac, still drowsy. 2 servants joined us. For 3 days we walked in silence. I looked at my son, and each step was agony. How could I tell him? How could I look into his eyes without him seeing the fear hidden in mine? In the distance, I saw the mountain. My heart tightened. I asked the servants to stay behind. "Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will go over there. We will worship, and then we will come back to you." I said it with faith, or hope. Perhaps both. Isaac carried the wood. I carried the fire and the knife. "My father," he said with that sweet voice, "we have the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" I looked into his eyes and answered with the only certainty I had left. "God will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." We climbed in silence. With each step, my heart grew heavier. Isaac, my son, walked ahead of me carrying the wood on his back. His curious eyes turned to me and he asked, "My father, we have the fire and the wood, but where's the lamb for the burnt offering?" My heart broke. I took a deep breath, holding back tears, and replied, "God himself will provide the lamb, my son." We arrived at the place God had shown me. With trembling hands, I built an altar from stones. I arranged the wood on top of it. Isaac looked at me in silence. Then, with my heart in pieces, I told him the truth. His eyes widened, but he did not rebel. He trusted me, and even more, he trusted God. He laid himself on the altar without resistance. I tied his hands with reverence, not as an executioner, but as an obedient servant. I raised the knife. My eyes were full of tears, and my soul cried out. But before the blade could fall, a voice from heaven called out, "Abraham, Abraham." "Here I am," I answered urgently. "Do not lay a hand on the boy. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son." I looked up and saw a ram caught by its horns in a bush. I ran and took it for the sacrifice. Tears of relief flowed down my face. We worshipped right there, and I named that place "The Lord Will Provide." When we left that place, I knew I would never be the same. The trial I had endured taught me that obeying God's voice means trusting even when we do not understand. Isaac walked beside me, silent but serene. Our bond was stronger, and my heart, though wounded, was at peace. Then the angel of the Lord called out to me from heaven a second time. The voice was firm and full of glory. "By myself I have sworn, declares the Lord, that because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore." That promise reignited the flame of hope within me. I remembered all the times God promised me a son, even when it seemed impossible. And now, after everything, he renewed his word with even greater power. Joy filled my spirit. I had learned that faith is not about understanding, but about trusting completely. Back at the camp, I was welcomed by my wife, Sarah. Her eyes met mine, and without words, she understood. We embraced for a long time, like those reunited after a long battle. We lived many more years there, surrounded by the promise and the presence of God. The years passed, bringing both peace and sorrow. My beloved Sarah, the one who once laughed at God's promise, departed from this world. It was a deep pain, hard to express. We had walked together for so many years, sharing dreams, fears, and faith. She was my companion from Ur to the land God promised us. When she died, I wept. I wept like a man who had lost a part of himself. Even with all my faith, her absence crushed me. I needed to find a worthy place to bury her, and I negotiated with the Hittites for the cave of Machpelah. There, in the silence of the earth, I laid my beloved to rest. But her legacy lived on in Isaac and in everything we had built together. After Sarah's death, I knew my mission was to prepare Isaac for the future. He was the heir of the promise, and I had to find him a wife. I sent my trusted servant to my homeland, trusting that the Lord would guide his steps. When he returned with Rebekah, I knew God's hand was in it. Seeing Isaac marry was like watching the seed sprout. I aged in peace, knowing the promise lived on. Even with a heart scarred by loss, I found comfort in knowing God's plan was still unfolding. The story didn't end with me, it was only beginning. Now, as my eyes grow weary and the weight of age settles upon me, I see the breadth of the journey I have walked. From Ur to the promised land, through mountains and deserts, through laughter and tears, I was led by the voice of the Eternal. I was not perfect. I made mistakes. I feared. I hesitated. But I never stopped believing. I feel the days growing shorter. Every sunset feels like a farewell. But there is no sorrow, only a serene silence within me. Because I have seen God's faithfulness. I saw the promise fulfilled in Isaac's smile, in Rebekah's gaze, in the growth of my descendants. I remember every altar I built, every place I cried out to the Lord, and He answered me. I remember the covenant made under the starry sky, the words that changed my name and my destiny. Abraham, father of multitudes, a title I now carry with humility. Today, I rest my head upon the land that was once a promise and is now a legacy. My bones will lie beside Sarah, my eternal companion. And I know with the certainty that only faith can bring, that the God who called me is the same who will guide my children and their children. The story continues, and even as my eyes close, my faith lives on. The God of Abraham lives, and with Him all things are possible.